Have you ever worked every day of your life without having a day off? Well, you see, that was the story of our Sims back in The Sims 1. When they got their jobs, they didn't have any days off, so they were pretty much enslaved. And the only time that they actually could get off is when they literally had to go on a vacation, but that didn't happen until the vacation expansion pack. So they've been technically working for a couple of years straight here. And anyways, for those that don't already know, my name is Michael, and I want to welcome you back to the Sovereign Gaming YouTube channel, the channel where I build worlds, lots, and add some of my thoughts on games that I enjoy. I have a lot of fond memories when it comes to playing the Sims 1 Vacation Expansion Pack back when I was a kid, but we all know how much value I actually place on nostalgia when it comes to comparing it with gameplay, which is not much. So let's see if the Sims 1 Vacation will hold up in this review, and we'll see how it places on my tier list that I will show at the end of the video. And as mentioned in previous episodes, I will be looking at the following criteria and scoring it out of 10 based on my opinion and playing experience. The criteria includes the game's concept, the gameplay features, impact on the current franchise, and impact on future Sims franchises. Based on those scores, I'm going to throw each of these games and expansion packs on a tier list that I have created at the end of the video. And today, we're going to cover the Sims Vacation expansion pack, and I plan to question whether or not the Sims 1 Vacation was just following a formula established by Hot Date, or if it kind of gives its own unique spin to it. Anyways, we're going to start by discussing the concept. At this point in the Sims franchise, Maxis and EA really started to establish a regular cadence and expectation when it came to releasing new content for The Sims 1. This would be especially important for the company as they now had an engaged fan base that was waiting for what the next entry would be for the Sims 1 franchise. More importantly, to a corporation, their money was ready as well. You see, with the success of The Sims Hot Date, EA had their winning expansion pack formula, which was to plug in a loading screen and offer exclusive experiences after the players load in. In a way, I think that The Sims 1 Vacation was well timed since players were just starting to get their Sims out of the house and now they have an entirely new world, which was Vacation Island, to travel to with their households. Plus, Sims players were used to that formula and used to loading screens. The Sims 1 Vacation was very much a concept developed strategically to reassure players that the Sims 1 franchise is greater than the sum of its parts, and that it looks to deliver on concepts that the newly established Sims community are asking for. And at the time, I believe that players were asking for new ways to get their Sims out of the house. When it comes to the Sims 1's Vacation concept, I'm actually going to give it a 10 out of 10, since the concept delivered on a proven formula established by Hot Date, and even though I loved Hot Date, which was the expansion pack before, I know that it wasn't some players' cup of tea, and I feel like the Sims 1 Vacation as a concept would have been favored by a wider range of players. Now let's dive into the gameplay offered in this expansion pack. When looking at the different gameplay features offered in The Sims 1 Vacation, I have to ask, are we really seeing anything new in the gameplay? My answer to that is, not really. You see, the problem with The Sims 1 Vacation is that it is following the Hot Date expansion pack's formula to a T. Gameplay-wise, I would argue that The Sims 1 Vacation and The Sims 1 Hot Date are the same expansion pack at their core. It's just that the context has changed a little bit. And by a little bit, I actually mean a lot. Essentially, in both expansion packs, you take your Sims out of the house to interact with objects not found in your house for the purpose of storytelling. Sure, you play out different stories in Hot Date and in Vacation, but ultimately the player paid for unique animations outside of the home for storytelling purposes. So the new NPCs that came with The Sims 1 Vacation were also just there. Archie Archer, Marky Sharky, and Betty Yeti just showed up there on their respective lots and just kind of danced and hugged the kids that were visiting. If I remember correctly, we couldn't really interact with these NPCs and we always had to wait for them to interact with us. I might be remembering that wrong, so feel free to comment below. But as a player, I never really understood their purpose, and even if their purpose was just to add to the ambiance, I think that the NPCs were a miss in this case. And the vacation director Kana was also just there offering advice on what to do. She looked like a cruise director, but she really wasn't directing any kind of cruises. She was just on land and just kind of telling us what to do, which is fine and everything, but I just kind of feel like the NPCs could have been fleshed out just a little more, since NPCs were such a big focus of the Sims 1 franchise. The only new gameplay mechanic that I think was introduced in The Sims 1 Vacation was the way you would purchase souvenirs. Like, the way that you would get your Sims to purchase souvenirs is to either win them or collect tickets to exchange them at a souvenir stand. And when you bring these souvenirs home, you can have your Sims remember or reminisce with them. Given this was The Sims 1 back in 2002, so it's not like there would have been an exhaustive list of new gameplay mechanics to make their way into the franchise within one expansion pack, but the new souvenir gameplay felt a little hollow to me. Another piece of gameplay that I want to give a lot of credit for is that The Sims 1 Vacation was great at updating its lots based on other expansion packs, giving way for more convergence of the franchise. So this is especially evident if you have the Unleashed expansion pack installed, since the vacation lots would get updated with things for your pets so that they would be able to meet their needs there. So EA did a really good job at retrofitting the vacation expansion pack as the franchise evolved, and that should be credited. All in all, when it comes to actual gameplay, I'm not seeing anything new fundamentally that we didn't get already in Hot Date. However, the storytelling elements offered to players with this expansion pack cannot be denied, and being able to successfully tell the story of taking your Sims on vacation wouldn't be possible without the gameplay to match it. At the end of the day, I'll give the gameplay section for Vacation an 8 out of 10. Had The Sims 1 Vacation been released before Hot Date, I would have probably given it a 10 out of 10 for the fact that it introduced new gameplay, whereas here I'm just seeing that it modeled its own gameplay features after Hot Date. And there's nothing wrong with that, except when it gets repetitive. Anyways, let's move on to its impact on the current franchise. The Sims Vacations expansion pack on the Sims 1 franchise, in my opinion, was minimally felt. Essentially, it was an expansion pack where if you don't use it, then you didn't notice that it was missing from the franchise. The catch-22 here is that Simmers would feel like they are missing something vital to the franchise had they opted not to purchase The Sims 1 Vacation if they really wanted to take their Sims on vacation to experience that gameplay. So there we go, kind of the catch-22 there. I will give credit where it's due in that The Sims 1 Vacation likely helped to pioneer an alternative currency system in the game outside of simoleons, with its introduction of tickets being used to trade in for souvenirs. If I recall correctly, there was a similar system introduced in Make and Magic that had players trade currency for spell ingredients. Anyways, I mentioned it before, but The Sims 1 Vacation, had The Sims 1 Vacation been released before Hot Date, I would likely give it a higher rating since it would have pioneered the expansion pack formula still used in the Sims franchise to this day. But with that said, I'm going to give The Sims 1's Vacation expansion pack a 5 out of 10 for its influence on the rest of the Sims 1 franchise, since I think that it just gets overshadowed by a lot of the other upcoming expansion packs. In other words, it does have a short shelf life once the player has explored the lots in Vacation Island, and if they choose not to have a vacation, they're just not going to end up using any of the content within the Vacation expansion pack. But let's talk about Vacation's impact on future franchises. There has been, without a doubt, a vacation-themed expansion pack introduced in every future franchise of The Sims. This is due to it having a strong, consistent concept each and every time. Do I think that a vacation-themed expansion pack delivered on the concept every time in its gameplay for future franchises? No. I actually think that The Sims 2's Bon Voyage expansion pack was the best version of the Vacation expansion pack, but I'm not reviewing that today. So where would that place The Sims 1's Vacation expansion pack for me? Well, I'm going to give credit where it is due, and I'll say that The Sims 1 Vacation pioneered a winning concept that can be replicated and built on every single franchise. That is sheer influence on future expansion packs all on its own. The only problem with vacation-themed expansion packs is that it does feel a little repetitive, and it has been criticized as such by the Simmer community. I see that, and I hear you. But at the same time, a vacation expansion pack's concept forces it to use that hot date formula, usually resulting in a loading screen and taking players off the home world they're playing in. This is nearly unavoidable unless you expand the size of your world considerably, and even The Sims 3, a franchise known for having an open world, couldn't avoid using a loading screen for its vacation-themed entry, being World Adventures. In my opinion, vacation-themed expansion packs need a fresh interpretation, but that's not what this review is about. This review is about The Sims 1 Vacation's influence on future franchise, and for its winning concept, it only feels right to give it a 10 out of 10 in this category. I'm sure you guys already know, but after adding up all of the scores, The Sims Vacation gets a 33 out of 40, just putting it in the perfection category. This feels right to me because I feel like The Sims 1 Vacation got a lot of things right and should be comparable to The Sims Hot Date. If The Sims Vacation came out before Hot Date and actually pioneered the notion of taking your Sims out of the house, then they would have likely switched places and switched scores in this review series. If you haven't noticed, I give a lot of credit for expansion packs that are taking risks and inventing new ways of playing, granted that their execution can actually match the vision. This is why a lot of The Sims 1's expansion packs will likely be ranked very high from now on going forward, because I think that some of the best expansion packs of this franchise have yet to be discussed on this channel. The Sims Vacation really doubled down on a successful formula established by its predecessor, Hot Date, and it paired its concept with gameplay to match player expectations. At the time, The Sims 1 Vacation felt fresh, and more importantly, players could now finally get their Sims a day off from work. After all, your Sims were pretty much enslaved to the system, working every day back in The Sims 1. If you enjoyed this review and my thoughts on The Sims 1 Vacation, then feel free to leave a comment, like, and consider subscribing. It helps me to beat those algorithms and help to grow this channel. But furthermore, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for watching, and that you are more than welcome to share your thoughts and feelings and memories or even funny stories on The Sims 1 Vacation as you've played it yourselves likely. Anyways, up next, I'll review The Sims 1 Unleashed expansion pack, and there's a lot more to the expansion pack than pets, and I can't wait to share my thoughts on that with you guys. Thank you again, and I hope you have yourselves a wonderful day.